from that point on, I was like, okay, he's doing something else.
I guess we're on our own here.
Yep. I did a quick self-assessment, when it first happened, like, all right, my head seems fine, arms, fingers are still there, legs fell around, didn't feel anything wet. I saw my microphone, which was turned on to our internal channel, so I clicked the button and said, we're hit. And then from that point, I started talking to the passengers, making sure they're okay. Hey, you guys all right? Everything okay? One of them was pretty dazed. The other one was shocked, but otherwise fine. So I talked them through coming out, literally step by step, come on out, here, I want you to do this. And one of my partners, the guy who was the right seat in the lead vehicle, who goes by Duck, or did at the time, went by call sign Duck, former SEAL. He was Johnny on the spot, man, right there at the corner of our vehicle saying, come to me, while I'm talking them out. One of the passengers was insistent he needed to get something out of the back, and I had to eventually tell him the third time I said, you need to get out. I said, look, we're on fire. You need to get the fuck out now, which it finally shook him. He was like, oh, okay. And he stopped hunting around for something in the debris that was now everywhere inside of there. He went out, and then I climbed out of my chair, or my seat, got down onto the window, if you will, or the passenger's door window, did a quick search around, grabbed a radio, grabbed a bandolier of 203 rounds, grabbed the grenade launcher that went with it, slung it over my body, was looking everywhere for my rifle, which I could not find, and the flames were literally coming in. As a matter of fact, while I was sitting in the chair talking them through, I kept doing this because I was like, damn it, stop it, because the flames were coming around and trying to burn my face. But then I had all that stuff, got out, moved away from the vehicle.
You didn't have your rifle?
No, it wasn't in the car.
So all you had was what? A pistol and
my pistol,
your 203.
A 203, and a bandolier of rounds.
Holy shit, which is what, maybe 20 rounds tops?
Probably. Yeah, I think it was 20 rounds, if I'm not mistaken.
How many operators are on the ground?
So me and my partner, who had unasked the vehicle unexpectedly, and then the two guys that were driving the other vehicle, one of which stayed in the driver's position. The Duck got out of the passenger's position and came and helped. Of course, like I said, the escorts, we had just trained on movement to contact 2 days prior. So they did exactly what we had just trained to do, surrounded the area, controlled it while we got out. And later, the guy that had unasked my passenger seat, who was now running around screaming outside, finally came up to me and smacked me in the chest. He goes, here's your rifle. And I took it and I looked at it, and it was so covered in soot and ash and crap. I was like, I don't think that's mine, but whatever. I got a rifle now. I'm good,
So you're with four operators,
Four
but we'll call it 3.5 because one's a fucking loser. So, but how many liabilities?
There were 2 in each car, so we then had to put our 2 in the other car.
So you're babysitting 4 people.
4 folks.
You got 3 operators, and you got one guy that's just lost his fucking mind.
Yep. He did get a nice award, though, because he was the staffer.
That's how it works over there.
Yep.
Did anybody fire any shots after this?
No, man. When I came out, before
from you guys.
Yeah, before he came up and jammed me in the chest with my rifle, I was literally scanning everywhere, because at that time they were hitting our forces and videotaping it and then selling those videotapes in the bazaar. And it was one of the ways that the Taliban and Al-Qaeda were making money. So I was searching for anybody around that was videotaping the whole thing. Didn't see anybody. So no, we didn't have to fire a shot.
Wow. Nobody videoed. I remember when that was all happening, because they actually videoed some of Red Wing, and I used to get these videos from our intel department, and I would use them to kind of, it was almost like a pre-mission ritual to get my mind where I wanted it to be before we would go on ops. But they didn't video it. And you guys, I mean, that is that shows a lot of discipline. And that one shot was fired from you or your team after being hit with a fucking car bomb. Your shit's on fire. You got 4 liabilities that you're trying to keep command and control over. You got one guy who's lost his fucking mind, and then the other 2 guys who sound like they're pretty solid.
Yep.
Do you think you had any TBI from that, or any long-term injuries from that blast?
I didn't bang my head or anything, and the overpressure was kept outside. Again, the vehicle was so new, it worked as advertised.
Wow.
Including the windshield falling out. When we went on my side, then we rolled up to the roof, went across the A-pillar, and the pressure of it being pushed on, the way the windshields are made, they're angled so outwards, so that pressure coming this way just makes it even tighter. But coming the other direction, they'll just pop right out. And that's what it did. So I didn't really feel anything.
You were unscathed.
Yeah, I had not a scratch on me, which is why the chief of base was like, I can't believe this. Because, you know, the other people had little bumps, bruises, stitches, like I said, maybe a cracked rib on one person. They were kind of sore. The only thing I had was a little bit of singed hair up here from ducking the flames repeatedly. But it grew back. All good.
Wow. When you got out of the car, and I'm sure you were getting situational awareness on the ground, was there any residue of the car that hit you?
Yeah, there was debris everywhere. I actually have some pictures. One of them is the guy that was driving the car, his whole face just sitting on the ground. Got a gory but great picture of the dude's last moment on Earth.
No shit. So his head is on the... I mean, I've seen that before.
Yeah. Usually
it's from a suicide bomber, not a car bomb.
Right, with a belt.
Yeah, because their head when they detonate, their head goes up in the air and everything else turns into, pink mist. But this dude's head, so he looked into his eyes again for a second time. He just, wasn't mentally present anymore.
He was there, but he was no longer there.
Well, I'm sure he was there in spirit. But, wow. And you have pictures of that.
Yeah, I do.
I don't know if we can put those on the channel or not, but...
It's kind of graphic.
I'd like to see them.
I'll be happy to show you to you.
So, I mean, that's a pretty damn fitting call sign. How the fuck did you get out of there? You're down a vehicle.
Yep.
Was anybody coming to get you? Did you have comms with anybody higher?
Well, we just let them know through the SATCOM that we had been hit, we had recovered all passengers, and we were continuing mission. So basically, we jammed all of our packs into the first vehicle. So now they're literally sardines. We had one person sitting in the very back with their luggage, kind of laid out across it, and the 3 of them pinned in. It doesn't sound like that would be that tight, but as you and I both know, you're wearing full body armor, which they only wear it when they got to move. So it's not stuff that fits them. It's just big, bulky stuff to keep them safe. So they're jammed in there. So Duck and I, my right seat guy ended up taking the right seat of the other vehicle. And then Duck and I got in the back seat of our escort's pickup truck, and we actually let it out. So the remaining vehicle followed us in the lead gun truck, so now we're literally riding in a thin skin with the locals, and then the tail gun truck came up behind us, and now 3 vehicles continued on to Kandahar Airfield.
Wow.
In fact, we had to calm the driver down because he was going so fucking fast. We were both afraid that he was going to wreck and kill us after we just lived through this crazy shit.
How was that? Hey, dude, chill out, man.
It's
just
man,
a car
it's
bomb,
okay.
no big deal.
Slow down just a little bit. And he was like, huh. It's like, no, it's good. Just slow down a little bit, slow down. And he kind of slowed down, like, good, yes, good. And we were still going really fast, but the truck wasn't going. so bad it felt like the front end was going to fall off or he was going to lose control. So yeah, it was kind of a funny after effect. In fact, Duck and I looked at each other and he goes, dude, I hate to sound so crass, but I so wish I had my camera, because when that car blew up, it was spectacular. It was like something out of a movie. I mean, our car, when we were out of it, because it was pissing fuel out the tank because of the heat from all the flames, and that fuel was coming out raw, but where it ended, it was on fire. So it was like your flamethrower over here in a much grander scale. And it's like as the fuel level went down, it worked its way back, and when it got to the vehicle, that whole thing went boom, boom. And it was like a 3-story high fireball.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I was standing about 50 feet away from it and went, wow.
I will never forget when I saw where they put the car and they let us go look at it. And I mean, still to this day, even looking at the picture, I just can't believe anybody survived that. And then at the same time, we had no idea agency personnel were even there.
Right.
We had just gotten there, and I was like, holy shit, CIA's here? And yeah. And
that was me.
Yep. We were getting blown up. But last thing on this. Do you think there's anything you could have done to prevent that? I mean, it doesn't sound like there was much. You could have taken a different route maybe, but I mean, all in all, you saw the threat. You didn't think he was a threat. He blows himself up. Is there anything you would have done different or could have done different to avoid that entire thing?
Unfortunately, it was one of those situations where we had little to no choice on the route because there was only one way to get there. So you were channelized. And I did see him, like I said, and I looked right at him, and he gave me no indication whatsoever that he was a threat. And like I said, we knew there were threats, so we were looking for threats. We had really good intel. But, you know, just because you know they're there, you don't know exactly which one it is. And if the guy doesn't look like he's doing anything wrong and he looks like he's complying with simple gestures, drive on, move. You know?
Well, I mean, even good intel, I mean, you know, what are they going to tell you? A fucking white Toyota Corolla is a car bomb with a license plate number? That's like, over there, you're either driving a white Toyota Corolla or a fucking Toyota Hilux.
Hilux, yep.
Or a motorcycle, and that's about it.
Yep.
So,
how many intel reports did you see about a white Toyota Corolla, possible or probable V-bed being in the area, and you'd be like, "Oh, look, another white Corolla that's going to kill us," you know?
Yeah, it did. It got to be a fucking joke.
It was.
It's like, well, good job, guys. Every car in Afghanistan's a fucking white Toyota Corolla.
Potential lead.
Thanks for the heads up. But so moving forward just a little bit, we finally got to work together in the capital in Kabul. We got into a little tiff that could have gone extremely bad. I needed backup. I called you. Unfortunately for you, you were eating an omelet and had to leave it. But and I lost a red shoe.
Yep.
But point being, you showed up, and I'm going to turn it over to you in just a second here, but it was another example of you using extreme restraint and an enormous amount of discipline. That could have gone really bad. Well, and I left because I had a couple of special people with me that we needed to get the fuck out of there. But why don't you kind of talk about what happened after I left?
Sure. Like you said, we obviously responded to a QRF call. There was only me and another guy, and as we were running to the car, we ran across a third guy from our program who joined us immediately, so there was only 3 of us. And when we got there, we recognized that you guys were blocked in. They weren't letting you out. These were Afghan soldiers. They had guns. They had what was obviously some Afghan officer who was creating the difficulty.